Incontinence. It's really a touchy subject, isn't it? Nobody wants to talk about it, but I bet you most of you, if you're over 50, have experienced it at one time or another, and that could have been, bladder or bowels, either way. So today I'm going to talk about it and share a couple of stories with you. Hi, I'm Denise, and welcome to Day to Travels in my chair. Lovely day. Thought I'd sit outside and just have a talk with you about that touchy subject of peeing too much and not peeing when you want to? No, that's not probably right. Just peeing in opportune moments. Now, there's different kinds of incontinence. There's a stress incontinence that we've probably all suffered. Any of you have had children anyway, and men too, where you cough, you sneeze, you're laughing so hard, and all of a sudden you have a bit of a leakage. That kind of incontinence can actually be helped along with doing your pelvic wall or your Kegel exercises. Girls, you remember from when you had babies, we used to do those to strengthen our pelvic wall. Well, there are also special physiotherapists that deal with incontinence. There's also different medications, such as I know people that are doing Botox injections for their incontinence, and if it's bad enough, they go to a catheter, temporary or permanent. Sort of talking about that right now, and I'm not talking about stress incontinence. I'm talking about the incontinence that you get, like me with MS, where you don't actually feel the way you used to feel, and so sometimes you just have no control of when you're actually going to empty your bladder, and it always is at the wrong time. Here's a quick little addendum to my video that I just did. I'm just going to insert this somewhere in there. I was at an MS meeting yesterday, and we were talking about incontinence. And when you're in a private setting with women, we've all got the same issues, different levels of it, of course, but really it's something that we needed to talk about. One of the girls said that about 10 years ago, she was at the MS clinic in Seattle, and she was having incontinence problems back then. And they suggested a drug called Oxybumate. Maybe pronouncing it wrong, I'd never heard it before. And when she came up to Canada, her neurologist hadn't heard of the drug either. So I did a little bit of checking, and keep in mind she's been on it for 10 years. She does not use it on a regular basis. The suggested dosage is 1 to 3 pills a day. They're 5 milligram pills. She uses it when she knows she's going to be going out to the theater, out for dinner, visiting friends, or somewhere where it's going to be difficult for her to get to the bathroom quickly. And it worked. So she doesn't use it all the time. She said she would if she had to, but she hasn't had to. The only side effects that she's experienced is dry mouth. Now, there is other side effects, and I would suggest, you talk to your pharmacist, you talk to your doctor to find out, because if you have kidney issues or anything like that, it's not a drug that's recommended. I have not personally used the drug. I'd never even heard of it before, but hey guys, sometimes any port in a storm, and she says it's been working for her. The premise of the drug is to be used with an overactive bladder when your bladder muscles are contracting uncontrollably. It's causing you to have frequent urination problems. And, and in that instance, sometimes what happens is you're not voiding completely. So like you feel you go to the bathroom, and then about 3/4 an hour later, you got to go again. So the drug works by relaxing the bladder. It may work for you, but I just thought I'd just toss it out there. And you never know, You never know. Went and had my hair cut today. Probably can't tell because it looks exactly like it did yesterday. But just, get that little ends off. I have to tell you, it's not getting any thinner. It's sort of, I think, reached its worst. So hopefully it'll be okay. Really hot. We still don't know if we're going to be able to make it to Alberta, because I tell you, the fires are just crazy. Even here in BC, we're getting the smoke, and air quality is terrible. We're sitting on the fence right now. We haven't made any big plans. Anyway, just wanted to update you on this drug. Hope it gives you another piece of knowledge to help you on your bladder journey. Now, you can call them adult diapers, incontinence supplies, whatever you want to call them. At our house, we just call them diapers. I have another friend, him and his wife were on a bus tour in Italy. That was a tour where it was about an hour and a half to 2 hours to get to the wineries that they were going to be visiting, and then lunch and so forth, and then they come back. He was kind of concerned about, he has MS, he doesn't walk very well, it was a hot day, he gets tired, and also we have the bladder problems. So his wife said, well, wear your diaper and you'll be fine. And if you have to go, you have to go, don't worry about it. So we did. And about an hour and a half into the trip, he knew he had to go to the bathroom, just went in his diaper. When he got to the destination, he stood up. He could hear snickering behind him. And what had happened was the seats of the bus were red leather, and his diaper hadn't held his urine, and it had leaked onto the seats of the seat of the bus, and that had transferred to his brand new white linen pants and a great big red target on his back end. Poor guy. Taught me something. He said, from now on when you travel, take a long sweatshirt or a jacket or something that you can tie around your waist so that you don't get met with that kind of embarrassment again. We've all had weird things happen to us. One of my friends traveling to Mexico with her elderly father. Let's sort of back this up a little bit. I want to talk to you about airplanes and airplane travel. As you know, airplanes are notorious for having the worst bathrooms in the world. You can barely get in them on a good day, and God knows you're not going to be able to get in them if you need some assistance. First of all, if you're mobility challenged, you have to have the assistance of the little wheelchair that goes down the aisles of the airplane. Now, first of all, I always try to get an aisle seat because there's no way I have a strength in my legs to shuffle down to the window seat. And it's pretty uncomfortable for everyone concerned with that little aisle wheelchair, but necessary. What my girlfriend does with her dad, though, is because he can't really hardly walk at all or even stand up properly, is she gets nighttime Tenors, because they're thicker than the daytime underwear, and doubles up, and even uses a pad. But you can buy for men who have prostate problems and leak it. And then if he has to go, then she just reaches down his pants and takes off the pad and puts it in the garbage and disposes of it down in the bathroom. Or if it's really bad, she gets him to stand up and hold on to the seat in front of him, pulls down his pants, takes off the first layer of diaper. Then he's still one, and then she can still put a pad in there too. She usually carries a lightweight blanket with her so that she can give him some privacy. It's not a really long flight, 6 hours or something, so it works for them. And I just want to pass that tip on to you because I think it's a good idea if you're stuck doing a long flight. One lady I knew with MS was flying to visit her grandson, newborn baby, flying from Vancouver to Toronto. She used the little wheelchair that got her on the plane, no problem. And about halfway through the flight, she had to go to the bathroom. So she asked the flight attendant if they could get the little wheelchair out of the front cupboard to assist her to the bathroom. Flight attendant looked at her with a shocked look and said, "We don't have that on board. Our airlines only has 2 of them, and we keep them for global flights. We don't ever keep them on board the plane." She said, "Well, I have to go to the bathroom." The flight attendant just shrugged her shoulders and said, "Well, you're just going to have to go in your pants. There's nothing I can do." So here's another tip in case that happens to you. First of all, ask. Always ask. And don't be worried about making your needs understood, because people that aren't incontinent, people that don't have disabilities, they don't understand what you're going through. And I usually carry in my, tote bag pad that you would lay down on your bed, but you can get them in smaller sizes, and I can sit that on my seat or on my wheelchair if I need to. I also, if we're traveling anywhere, take an extra pair of pants, a couple of extra diapers, and a couple of pads. I do something that is really not supposed to be done, as if I'm taking a long flight. I don't drink any water or anything on the flight, maybe a couple of sips. And then when I get to my destination, I just hydrate. And then I know that endangers you for a urinary tract infection, or it can endanger you for a kidney infection. But for me, that works. But I don't drink any coffee or any alcohol or anything like that. That's going to trigger that problem, because God knows it's so embarrassing. And if you have no control, there's nothing you can do about it, except maybe when you're at home, kind of get an idea of how often you do have to go to the bathroom and try to gauge yourself. If you have to go to the bathroom every hour, then go to the bathroom every hour. If it's every 2 hours, go every 2 hours. Doesn't matter. But, you know, sometimes it's impossible. On a road trip, you're stuck in a lineup of traffic. There's no way you can go to the bathroom. So think ahead and be prepared. There's different brands of adult diapers on the market. There's the daytime, more of an underwear type of Depends or something like that. But I found in the last few months that Costco's Kirkland brand are quite a bit cheaper, and you get more for your money, and they're just as good. So if you have a Costco, and even if you have to get them shipped, sometimes it's free delivery. At nighttime, I use Tenors nighttime. They have more absorbency, and make sure you get them that are the right fit. If you get them too big, your urine is going to leak through the leg. If you get them too small, you're just in for an uncomfortable evening all the way around. I find the nighttime Tenors are great. They'll hold quite a lot of urine. And if I'm traveling, I wear a nighttime tenor and not a daytime. And just make sure my t-shirt's loose over top or something like that, because God knows, it's embarrassing. And now we're just talking about urine. I'm not even talking about the other part of the whole equation if you don't have any control of your bowels. That can be, I have a friend who has anxiety bowel release. So anxiety doesn't have to mean bad things. It can also mean you're anxious, you're going to a big party, or you're going somewhere exciting and your anxiety is building up for it. You're anxious, but you're happy anxious. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, comes bum, 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 bowel release. Now, if you think peeing when you don't want to pee is bad, can you imagine being in a crowded shopping mall at Christmas and your bowels just go? I was just wondering, and I don't know, maybe some of you could actually comment on that if that's happened to you, but what would happen if you were knowing that you were going to take a trip, if you were to talk to your doctor probably, or your pharmacist, and do an enema before you went and made sure you emptied your bowels? Would that take away some of that anxiety? I don't know. I mean, sometimes it's a medication. Like, I have type 2 diabetes, and before the doctor put me on Ozempic, he put me on a drug called Jardiance. He said that it would, it was the next step for having to have insulin, so try it. Well, what Jardiance did for me was it made me have to go to the bathroom every 3/4 of an hour. And then I got one bladder infection after the other. Till finally, the third bladder infection, I said, take me off. I cannot handle it. So sometimes it's not anything you're doing. It's the medication you're on, the disease you've got, MS. Everyone that I know who has MS, pretty much at some time or another, has an incontinence problem. We have to live with it. And, like I mentioned, you could have Botox injections, I think, every few months. And that helps, by the way. Some of the people I've talked to, they say that does help. I haven't resorted to that yet, but I'm really, really cautious. It makes me aware, like, if the bathroom in the restaurant is wheelchair accessible, and if it is going to be able to be big enough for me to get in with my wheelchair so I can go to the bathroom, and if not, going to limit what I'm going to drink while I'm out at the restaurant, and I'm not going to stay out for longer than 2 hours, because I know I'm pretty good for 2 hours, and after that it's a gamble. For example, I'm having a nap in my recliner, and an hour later I kind of wake up with a jolt, and I go, have to go to the bathroom. Time I get my recliner into the standing position, get into the wheelchair, get to the bathroom, get on the toilet, I may not make it. And I have to be honest, guys, daytime adult diapers don't hold that much urine. They're, I think, made more for occasional little accidents, but they're not made to handle a full void. If that's where you're at right now, you might have to put out the extra bucks for the nighttime Tenors, and even with an extra pad inside, and adjust your clothing. I also don't wear blue jeans or anything long skirts. God, I went through that at a wedding, my daughter's wedding. I have this long, beautiful dress on, and all of a sudden I have to go to the bathroom. Well, jeepers, you should have seen us trying to get this dress. First of all, getting it into the bathroom, and then holding up the dress so I could get on the toilet. I mean, it was just an absolute nightmare. I usually wear yoga pants. My girlfriend said to me, because we were going out for dinner one night, and I said, I feel so embarrassed wearing yoga pants. And she said, why? She says, you're in a wheelchair. You're going to put your legs under the table. Nobody's going to see your pants anyway. Just wear a super, super neat top and a great big chunky necklace, and nobody's even going to notice your pants. Because the yoga pants for me, and I will admit I do have them a size bigger than I'd normally wear, because if I have to balance myself by holding onto a grab bar to try and get my pants down, I have to be able to get them down fast and up fast before I fall over fast. So yoga pants, I've tried other kinds of stretchy pants. I've tried blue jeans. I've tried elastic waisted blue jeans. Yoga pants or leggings are the only thing that work. But like I say, they have to be loose enough fitting. And my kids laugh at me. They say, "Oh, Mom, you should see what those are way too big, and you've got no bum anymore, and your legs are so skinny." I said, "I'm sitting down. Nobody's going to see my bum, and nobody's going to care about my legs. And you know what? I don't care. I have to be comfortable." There was a time years ago when we used to travel with, we called it the pee bucket, for those who said emergencies when the kids were small. But I don't have the agility to do that anymore. And you know, men, they can just sort of whip it out anywhere, right? Whereas we women, you know, we have to have the muscles in our legs to be able to squat if we have to squat, and I don't have that. You know, of all the subjects I've talked about, I think this was sort of the hardest one, because it deals with a part of your body it's embarrassing to talk about, isn't it? And I found with my friends, if I talk about my problems ahead of time, it saves us a lot of embarrassment down the road. And that we can adjust, if we're doing a trip or something, we can adjust it to bathroom breaks. And you know, they're all having little issues too, and they don't want to talk about it, but hey, we're big people. We can talk about it. Thanks for joining me. Hope you have a great week and a great weekend, and we'll see you real soon. Bye for now. Even Roxy is being affected by the heat. Open your eyes. Hey, she just had a couple of shots the other day, so she's not probably feeling good. One of them was rabies. The day that we took her in was late afternoon, and guess what happened? They had a fire later on. No animals were hurt, nothing, but they had to be closed. I mean, literally the same day she went and had a shot.